Hello, people. This is a hangout. And like I said below, and John, you got to help me because if my audio goes bad, you got to do this.
I'll let you know. Same here, because it could happen to me too.
Yeah, the echo problem sometimes. Well, anyway, because I'm not feeding it through Microsoft Edge, which usually is a safer shot for me, but they did update Google, so we don't know. It might last. I don't think the world will be damaged too much if the video has to get erased because of audio issues. So I'm drinking Spaten Optimator. And like I said, it down below, the video, the contents of this video should not be taken seriously. And I said, what did I say? I can't remember what I wrote. This is Spaten Optimator Doppelbock. Malt liquor, always malt liquor.
You've got a little bit more premium than what I brought to the party. I've got I had one left, so I didn't have to run out to the store because I got off work late. I'm drinking the last one of my Old English high gravity malt liquors.
Whoa. So I've got Spaten Optimator. What you know about that? You heard me. What you know about that? You heard me. And you've got the Hurricane high gravity. You heard me. So
or no, old English.
I'm sorry. As soon as I said it, I knew I was wrong. Old English 800 HG introduced in 2001. You heard me. So yours is 7. Oh, scratch that. 8. And
that's right.
It's too strong for me, and we don't get it in Louisiana anyway. 7.6% for my malt liquor, always malt liquor. 7.6. That's pretty strong now, but not as strong as that monster you're drinking. I would be terrified of drinking, and I have done it before. Oh, mine is brewed in Germany and imported from Germany. And it's passed by September 2018, and it's made by according to the Reinheitsgebot, the German purity law.
Very nice. Yeah, that's a good one. It's been a while since I've had the Optimator. That's might be my favorite Spaten product.
And it's not sold in Germany. Bizarre, in a bizarre twist, turn of events. And it was only 99 cents for this bottle. I couldn't believe it. I was so delighted.
Wow.
Now, you were talking about the percentage on the Old English 800 high gravity, and it's 7.5 on the West Coast. They get their own recipe. If you look on the Miller Coors website, it's 7.5 on the West Coast. Maybe into Nevada, but Washington, Oregon, California. I don't know about Hawaii. Now we got Blue Nose. Now, Blue Nose, do you, Harry, do you all get this malt liquor?
We do not all get the malt liquor.
You don't get Optimator?
Do not, definitely don't.
Spaten Optimator? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
I'm sure you probably don't get this one either, huh? The Old English high gravity.
See, I'd love to try it. I'd oddly love to try it, and yeah, we just don't get it. I mean, as an alternative to your sort of malt liquors, we've got Tennant Super.
Yeah, you got those supers.
Or the super lagers. Maybe Elephant, maybe Carlsberg Elephant. Though I actually like Carlsberg Elephant. It's hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, semi-common here.
Yeah. And then there's Special Brew.
Yeah. Carlsberg.
Yeah.
That was invented for Winston Churchill, right?
It was, and his taste buds must have been shocked completely by that point, if he was still drinking the same as what we drink now.
I bet he loved that alcohol content, though.
Oh, he probably did. Probably did during those days.
He was a rather prolific drinker, I believe. Now, I'll tell you my little malt liquor story about this one real fast. I could revisit this once a month, you know, but I think people would hate my channel. Some people do already. Hey, but it has a lot of raisin flavor and aroma. So think of raisins and oh, the darkest malt you ever tried, and dark black bread, German black bread, and maybe some figs and dates. It's a fairly heavy body. I think it's about 200 calories. So if you want a light body beer, this would not work. And the finish is not super crisp because it's so dark, you see? Now you get the La Rosa, right? Birra Moretti La Rosa?
Well, I do. Not often. I've seen it.
No, I mean, I don't mean you personally go buy it. I mean, you're able to get it.
Oh yeah, yeah, but not easily. Not easily still.
Oh yeah. Either here, it didn't really catch on to much here.
I mean, Moretti, I believe they're having a bit of, because they're owned by someone big. I can't remember who now, but I know that they're having a bit of like a push on the market. Or trying to be pushed on the market a little bit more. So we might see a little bit more of them, but don't very much at the moment.
I think they got bought out by Anheuser-Busch InBev. That was one of the brands bought from SAB Miller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I've seen them around because I've even seen a brand manager job going for them in my local area. So yeah, they're definitely trying to push on the market. I don't think they push on their stronger lager so much. I think or stronger beer so much. I think they push on their like lower, lighter stuff for the mass market.
Like Moretti.
Yeah, that as well over here. I mean, you go to any Italian restaurant, they will either have Peroni or Moretti.
Yeah. Same here.
So yeah, but I think it's done more the rounds recently when there was kind of like a more upmarket restaurant. Jamie's Italian. I don't know if you know anything about Jamie Oliver, but TV chef, and so he is quite a popular TV chef, and he's more than a TV chef. He's a little bit of an activist at the same time. Not political activist, but just food activist in a political sense. But he has a chain of restaurants, and he has his beer, has Moretti in there, and made it really popular. Probably say about 5-10 years ago, made it really popular, and now they're more more out in the market.
I would prefer drinking the Birra Moretti La Rosa over the Optimator, but I still like the Optimator. We went to a Volksfest at Deutsch's house 2 weeks ago, and my uncle and I were drinking draft Optimator. And then they had trouble with their taps, so they ended up giving us twice as much. And it's 299 calories per bottle. 299, and it's a 12-ounce bottle, 355 milliliters.
Worth it. Totally worth it.
99 cents. Now, what are you drinking, Blue Nose?
I've got a can which I bought today. Mobley Brew House. It's a brewery based up near Manchester. I named the beer for them. As a result, I've become a big fan of their beers because they sent me some beers down, and I couldn't get hold of them before. And then now I can get hold of them ever since I spoke to a local bottle shop. He started buying some in. So I got their Batch 1000. It's an Imperial IPA coming in 10% ABV. Ooh. So it's kind of like a triple IPA rather than a double, but it's really, really good. I've had a can of it before and reviewed it as well. And I decided I'd buy a couple more cans because going on holiday soon, I'm going to take some out with me. And it's really, really nice. So yeah, it's mango-y. It's a New England style.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say it looks like one of those New England style IPAs that we get here in the States that are almost like an orange juice or
it's
puree color.
Yeah, it's like a mango puree. It's essentially what it's mango puree or passion fruit puree. It's really, really thick, creamy, juicy, dangerously good. It's really, really nice. But yeah, so I've got a couple more cans of this for when I'm on holiday to drink aside from the macro lagers.
that in the United States could be called a malt liquor because, you know, that word is a word that is used to keep importing and distributors out of trouble. In other words, I've seen ales from Europe called malt liquor, just ales, you know, not all lagers, because it just means strong beer. But in the United States, you can't sell strong beer.
Right. It's so weird that law here because, you know, I can go buy a Molson Triple X and it says super premium beer and it's 7.3% alcohol. And then you can go, you know, go ahead.
No, I was saying I don't think that law is really in play anymore.
No.
A lot of things slipping through now that say beer. But a long time.
Although Texas is still pretty strict, though. You see something that's sold in Texas, you look at the side of the label, it still does say ale in Texas on most of those products.
Yeah, but that's a state law. There used to be like U.S. government, and it may not have been a law. It may have just been a regulation allowed by the law. You know, so they might have kind of downplayed the regulation or they don't enforce it. Because I noticed that the Spaten used to be called malt liquor, but notice the last 3 or 4 years they just say beer. I say, oh, and this 5.2, 5.2. You know, 5% used to be the tipping point. Once you went above 5, and say beer, but that's not really in play anymore. But then the term malt liquor became like, oh, it's all about street violence and negative social problems, and then gangster rap and all of this. So, and then the brewing companies fed into all of that. So, at one time it was just considered a strong beer, maybe it's fine, and then people say, oh no, you know. But it is interesting that a super premium beer like Spaten Optimator is still calling it malt liquor with, you know, no problem. Oh, and the Carlsberg Elephant used to be called Carlsberg Elephant malt liquor. Yeah.
The Santa Claus is still labeled as a malt liquor, I believe. The Santa Claus?
Correct.
It's not over here. Well, of course it's not over here, but yeah, Santa Claus. I had that last year. I had a bottle from 2014, which I had last year.
Yeah, over here it's Santa Claus, Schwarzbier, Classic, Helles, and they all say Santa Claus malt liquor, Austria, from Austria.
Let's see which, yeah, Santa Claus Classic, which I had, I think. Yeah, Santa Claus Classic, which is a 14% ABV, the brown style bottle one. Yeah.
Oh boy, 14%. Hey, let's see something. I'm going to see the comments. Okay, so Spaten is all barley malt, no rice, no corn. If you look up the Miller Coors website, they give you a rundown of the Helles Doppelbock that you're drinking, John and Neely, which is what it is, basically a Helles Doppelbock, you know.
Right. It's a nicer way to put it, you know, kind of. I mean, it is, but, you know, most people would not call it a Helles Doppelbock.
Mine is a Dunkelbock. Now let's see what people are saying in these comments. Wow, looks good. Drinking a New Belgium Hemperor, not a good beer, says Josh. I've been hearing negative things about the Hemperor. Small Town Oregon is saying all these things. Big B says Optimator is awesome beer. Oh, I agree with that, boy. Small Town Oregon says Old English High Gravity 800, drinking an ice cold Bush now. Cheers, just cut the grass, going to get some Old Rasputin soon. Russian Imperial Stout. The Mod Strabator says get Black Metal Troy in here. Yeah, well, he joined my hangout once. All right, because he likes, okay, Craig Swinson says malt liquor. A few times a year, I'll pick up a 40-ounce of Colt 45. It's delicious. I miss Mickey's. I drank Mickey's just yesterday, and I'm saving a green bottle for a hangout. He says, I miss private stock from Heffenrepper. Oh, yeah, the malt liquor with the imported taste. Yeah, I had some bottles and cans of that before. Toxic Swiller 40 says, cheers, boys. STO, cheers, boys. To the person who said New Belgium Hemper is bad, I agree. It's undrinkable, says Craig. Wow, I really have to try this. Taco Bell has a new wild chicken chalupa. Okay.
They do.
Shane Giggy says, malt liquor, always malt liquor. All right. What you know about that? You're Bum Frump says EQ 28 used to be called malt liquor. Right? EKU 28. Right. I know people who won't even try malt liquor because of the reputation. I know. It's terrible. STO says he ate one for lunch. And then Bum Frump says, now this is a Jeff Lyons question. Now you see Jeff Lyons made a post on Alcohol Eggs yesterday saying, when are you going to make another cheap beer video with a cheap hamburger? I demand this. I said, what? I'll have to do it. So now I'm being called out to drink beer with a hamburger. But Jeff Lyons, I'm calling you out, New England Beer Reviews, to drink some Molson Brador malt liquor from the 1980s, because he always was talking about Molson Brador, which I've never seen aside from internet photos. Backwoods Billy says Colt 45, Old English Mickey's, and Natty Daddy. Ooh, those are all adjunct Hellestopple box. Okay, that's the comments so far. What do you got, John and Neil, with your Old English 800 high gravity malt liquor?
It's such a delightful beer to drink, ice cold. I just recently started seeing it again. There's a little place in between where I live in Atlanta. There's a little convenience store that sells. They have 4 shelves in the cooler door lined. So obviously it sells well in it's Jonesboro, Georgia. I don't know if anybody knows where that is, but it's kind of in between here in Atlanta, and that must be all people drink in Jonesboro, Georgia, because there's four shelves lined up. They've got the cooler, the door. When you open the door, they've got an additional rack hanging on the door. So it does sell pretty well regionally, and I was so glad that I found it. It's so delightful. It's one of my favorite high gravity malt liquors. The only one I can think of right now that I like better than this is the Schlitz Gold Bull VSL. I think that's a little smoother. And it's 8.5%. So for it to be a little bit smoother at 8.5, I think means, in my book, that means it's a little bit higher quality.
I like it. It's too strong.
I love malt liquor, and I always tell people that have never had malt liquor, like, malt liquor is just beer with a little bit more alcohol. But when I was young, broke, and living with my parents, I'm glad that I had $2. I'd be like, all right, what can I get? I don't really want to drink my mom's Mick Ultra because that's too light. So I go to the gas station and I'd see 99 cents for a 24-ounce can of Old English or Colt 45, and I've been hooked ever since. Malt liquor will always have a very special place in my heart, and I think if more people gave malt liquor a try, people just steer clear of it from the get-go because of the reputation it has, like you mentioned earlier. But if people would just give it a chance, I think a lot of people would really, really enjoy malt liquor. Maybe not high-gravity malt liquor, but your standard variants like your Colt 45, Old English, the Schlitz Blue Bull. Those are all excellent, easy-drinking products that most American adjunct lovers, I think, would love. They just don't try it because it gets such a bad rap,
I think the 5.6 to 6% ones are better for me. When it gets above 6%, I can't hardly take it. But this one is good. For some reason, it's 7.2, and it's not bugging me whatsoever. Backwoods Billy says, Jay, a food pairing review. Well, and then Andrew Paschke retracted a message. What did you write there? I didn't see that. No. Backwoods Billy said, malt liquor is a malt-forward, low hops adjunct lager that can have a higher gravity, typically sweeter. That's right. Shane
I prefer it.
Huh?
I think as a result, I probably prefer it because I prefer a sweeter lager. So I probably prefer it a little bit more of a hoppier lager.
Okay. I think I agree with that. And then Shane Giggy says, I really like Busch Ice 6% here in Canada. And let me say this, John and Neely, you were talking about the Schlitz Gold Bull, the VSL.
Right.
It's a charcoal filtered lager, and you don't see that too much. And they tout that on the can, charcoal filtered. So they drip it through charcoal. Now, that's a strange thing, isn't it?
It's odd. You know what, though? As smooth as it is, like I just said, it's smoother than a lot of the 8% ones that I've had. So that charcoal filtration may have something to do with the smoothness.
My friend David and his lady friend, the mystery lady, they drank it. They said it was the best mass-produced lager they'd ever tried in their life.
Wow, that's quite a statement coming from David.
Yeah, and they don't give praise too easy. You might have noticed. Andrew says he's drinking a Mickey's right now. Bought a 12-pack of cans. I wish I could get 12 packs around here. Dadgum. Basement Beer says malt liquor, always malt liquor. Yeah, you joined us for one hangout. You should join us again. All right. Well, he didn't say always malt liquor. I said that because that's the topic. Now, with this thing you're drinking, so Jamie from Basement Beer Reviews, he'll probably join us again. It says ingredients: water, barley malt, corn syrup, dextrose and maltose, yeast, and hop extract. And the calories are 219, but not nearly as whopping as my 299. That would be so heavy on a 24 ounce. This is a beer that drinks like a meal. You know, you're eating it as much as drinking it.
Is yours, Jay? Is yours like a dark, like malt liquor? Just
Yes.
comes up dark on camera. But what is yours?
Yeah, it's dark. It's dark brown with some red in it. Yeah, it's dark. It's a dark dunkel bock.
Oh, nice.
Doppel. Oh yeah.
Dunkel.
Dunkel. Show him your Hellas Doppelbock, John.
The color or the can?
Yeah, how it looks in the glass.
Oh, nice. Kind of like an orangey golden.
Yeah, this is more of your traditional malt liquor color. You know, especially the cheap stuff. It pretty much all looks like this. Although Hurricane high gravity malt liquor is a lot more orange than this. It's one of the only ones that has its own unique color to it for the macro malt liquors. It really is like orangeade almost, the color, which is really odd.
There's no doubt about that. I used to buy that beer years ago, 12 packs, and I would drink it, okay, like a regular old beer. And then one day I was sitting there reading a magazine because I was trying to read every National Geographic magazine I own, which I did do, from 1923 to the present. It's a lot I read. So I'm reading it, you know, and I started thinking to myself, this beer is too chewy. It's got too much, like, it's like I'm eating it. I can't take it anymore. I said, I'm not buying it anymore after I finish this 12-pack, and I never really did again. Not that it tasted bad, but it was just too much in a can. And that's that Hurricane high gravity. You've seen the old labels, right, John?
And that's one of the few that I think you actually mentioned this in one of your older reviews of it. Something about that particular malt liquor, I think you described it as the alcohol delivery system. But that you can take literally one sip of that malt liquor, and for whatever reason, it hits you right away. It's just an instant, instant alcohol to the brain, and it's only what 8% or 8.1%. So it's no different really than this one here, but you take one or two sips of that and you know you're drinking a high gravity product. Not to say that it's a bad quality product, but you feel it instantly.
Oh, look, you're right. That you could drink the ale, 10% ale, and it's like, oh, well, drinking ale, no big deal. You drink half the can of this Hurricane high gravity, and people are talking to you and they're saying, hey, you been drinking? Here's the old, it just hit, you can say, ooh, it's like a diamond bullet in the forehead. Here's the old can, and they had the H shaking, you know, like in the wind. You'll feel shook. And
wait,
okay, what?
What reason do you think that is, that, you know, like a high gravity lager would affect you more than like an ale? Is it because of carbonation? Is it because of adjuncts?
I don't know. It's like it delivers the alcohol straight into your bloodstream.
Is it because it's a lager, you're drinking it quicker? Do you reckon?
I don't know. I think it's something to do with how the beer enters your bloodstream. Because I went to my friend's house in Texas once, and I bought a big can like John has, and it was Keystone Ice, only 5.9% alcohol. So me and his wife were drinking this beer together. He was present as well. We weren't alone drinking it, by the way. But in case y'all wondering. But so I'm telling you right now, we were just like getting so exuberant with our speech, and I said to myself, "Gee whiz, it's like we mainlined a beer," and it's incredible, you know, how that works. But this one here, the old label says high gravity lager. It doesn't say malt liquor. It says high gravity lager, and it says brewed for a distinctive, bold taste. And there's no doubt about that, because that's what it is. And then it said blah blah blah. And then on the side of the can, it says ale. Now, okay, so it's a lager, but over here it's an ale. Explain that one.
So it's obviously sold in Texas.
Right. And then category 5 was the rebrand, remember? High gravity malt liquor. They had the malt liquor in cursive, like it's some kind of special appointment from the crown. Yeah, it says per category 5 is the world's most powerful hurricane. Hurricane high gravity brings you an equally bold experience. Yeah, when you drink this, it really is an experience, I must admit. All right, now let's see. Chewy like Milwaukee Special Reserve Ice, says Andrew. Oh no, no. That's chewy in a bad way. You don't want that Milwaukee Special Reserve Ice. That's like eating mud.
That's Minhouse, right? Minhouse.
That's a Minhouse product, and they might have improved it, because I noticed Minhouse been getting better. But that used to be a nightmare in a can. Backwoods Billy says, BRB, cheers. What does that mean, BRB? Anytime you filter or cold crash, okay, here he's saying, anytime you filter or cold crash a better, BEDR, before bottling, beer before bottling or kegging, drop in the temperature to 31 degrees will drop out all the bad stuff. Okay. Cold crash a beer. Radar says, I'm on Pabst Blue Ribbon today. Probably the most enjoyable beer I've come across. I always like Pabst Blue Ribbon. And Andrew says, oh yeah, Chewy like the Milwaukee's best.
I wonder if whoever said the cold crash, I wonder if they're referring to like what Coors Light does with their beer. They cold brew it, they cold filter it, and they cold lager it, or cold they bottle it, all in colder temperatures. I don't know if that's what maybe.
Like cold crashing is basically just like dropping your temperature from a high temperature. Say if you're doing like an ale and you're fermenting it, like I can only say in Celsius, so fermenting it 20 degrees Celsius, and you'll be going along at that temperature, and then say it hits like 10, 12, 10, 11, then you just smash it down to like 6 degrees or 4 degrees or 2 degrees, whatever you want to go by. That's what we call cold crashing.
Probably what he's talking about.
So yeah. It's. I mean, it doesn't get rid of bad flavors. I mean, you'll still have to do your diacetyl rest to get rid of the butterscotch flavors. But yeah, I mean, I've always depends on whatever sort of batch size you're doing. If you're doing a larger batch, you can have your diacetyl rest period in time between doing your cold crashing. But if you're doing a small batch, then your cold crash will be way quicker. But yeah, without getting too scientific and boring.
Oh no, it's not boring. Hey, Sector. Hello, Sector. Thanks for watching. I believe Sector is in a different part of the world from me, for sure. So we don't always drink high alcohol beers. At least in my case, I don't, because you know what I've been drinking on a lot lately? Keystone Light. And that's only 4.1% alcohol. And today I did a beer review of, what was that stuff? It was not Lagunitas. I do have some Lagunitas coming up. People say, yeah, you don't drink, but you got all these. You can't even think of the beer you reviewed. Hey, well, you know, 'cause, I got up at 3 o'clock, at 3:46 this morning. Oh yeah, the Sumatra Mountain Brown. That was coffee beer. That was so fabulous. That was nearly 100 out of 100.
Very nice.
Awesome beer, and it's 9%. 9%, and it was like I never drank any liquor. No alcohol effects. Now this one isn't really bothering me either. I can tell when it bothers me. Like if I'm drinking, I can feel it. And if I don't feel it, then I don't feel it. So I don't know how sensitive y'all are. I think some people drink and they don't realize they're coming across as drunk. But I always know. I can just feel it every step of the way. So I can sort of like say, okay, watch it, you know, and I'll try to cover, you know, it doesn't really work, but I'll try to like be careful with the words I say. I don't mean like using inappropriate words. I'll just try to watch how I'm pronouncing them. You know, I'll try to watch my dictation, whatever. I'm not using the right term.
Your diction, maybe?
Yeah. Like I'm trying to watch my clarity so that it's not noticeable. I don't think it works. But
at least you notice it. Some people don't realize it, and they go on and you watch their videos. It's like, wow, this is hard. This is brutal.
Yeah, but I guess my body's sensitive. I can feel it. But this one is like I'm drinking just a mild thing. You know, one thing I'll mention. This beer is reminding me in some ways, now this is going to be shocking. I know you're going to find this shocking. It reminds me of Jägermeister, and I am not kidding tonight on the internet. Even though the disclaimer below says this video should not be taken seriously. And it's,
you might have to explain that statement.
Because
wait, so how does it remind you of Jägermeister?
No, I said the video was lighthearted. And it was for entertainment purposes only. No, but it does remind me of Jägermeister. Let me tell you why. It's the same color for one thing. Now I know that Jägermeister 70 proof, and this is only 14 proof. So I have enough intelligence, and I know that's different, obviously, a liqueur, but. This one has that herbal quality. And when I was sipping on that Jägermeister, I said to myself, I said, there is some type of bready aspect to it, like a bread crust. Now, I was trying to think about that stuff because people were saying, all the comments like, oh no, he's going mad. Jägermeister, no. But mainly they were saying that because they had not used the product properly and they had some bad flashback experiences from it. Well, you know, I had that little tiny bottle. So, and then some people said it tastes like medicine, like cough medicine. I said, no, to me it did not. But this one is sharing the herbal qualities of Jägermeister. Herbal. Well, I mean, it's a lot milder, but it's strange. It just hit me like that all of a sudden that it does taste.
Well, there could be some similar ingredients. I guess we'd never know because the Jägermeister, like you said, has what, 56 different herbs and spices, botanicals in it. So they may share some ingredients.
Well, it's strange. I mean, this supposedly is just water, barley malt, hops, and yeast, right? But maybe the hops are the
same. True. Because of the German purity law.
Yeah, it's the spice of beer. I don't know. I'm not saying it tastes like a whole lot like it. It doesn't taste a whole lot like it, but it's reminiscent of it in some ways. All right, so you're drinking the Old English 800 high gravity malt liquor, what you know about that, Jeremy? I drank the Spaten Optimator, and that was the first beer my daughter ever tried in 2010. We were at Volksfest, and I said, at Deutsches Haus, the German club in New Orleans, and she said, oh, let me try this. I said, okay. I said, its optimator is 7%. It was draft. She took the huge gulp, like a huge gulp. Gulp, 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 gulp. I'm just watching. I'm in shock, you see. 17 years old. Now in Louisiana, you can drink at 12 years old if your parents are with you, by the way.
What a wonderful world.
Wow.
Can't buy it. You can drink it.
Mm.
Now, and I said to myself, this person is going to be a good beer drinker because she drank the optimator like it was water, and that would bring other people to their knees. And that was the first beer she tried. You see, that was her starter beer, her training wheels. I said, if she can guzzle optimator like it's nothing, and that's her training wheels, she's got a future in this business. You know what I mean? So then she said, oh, let's try the next one. Chimay Red Cap. Oh, yeah. I said, oh, yeah, you know. So
it's surprising how many like malt liquors that I remember she loved the 111 or the Still Reserve Triple Export, which is the 8.1%, and some of the other malt liquors that you reviewed over the years, because she started out with the cream of the crop, and then so for a lot of people there's no going back, or there's no going to something like this after you start out with Chimay Red Cap and the optimator. So
perfect beer reviewer, because she's not like me. She's not going to research the product at all. Okay, she's not like me going to sit up there and say, "Ooh, let me look up the history of the product. Let me read the ingredients." Okay, none of that's going to happen. Okay, so people can say you're biased because you like big companies, whatever. So they could say that, and maybe there's validity because I'm reading about it and whatnot. So, you know, you could make that argument. But in her case, she's going in blind every time. She does no research, and she frankly doesn't care if it's macro, middle crow, micro. I mean, she doesn't care about that. All right. So she tries them now. But like you said, some of her favorite beers that she liked in these reviews that she's done with me over the last 7 years were what? The Steel Reserve Triple Export.
Triple Export, yeah.
The black label, 8%. She said, oh, one of the best beers I ever had. Now, other people there jaw dropped, you know. Then what else? Hayward's 5,000. The malt liquor from India, Hayward's 5,000. Oh, she said, what a great beer. Oh, what a great beer. And then people from India said, that's beers that people drink to get drunk. I said, well, look, and I'm going to thank Ken from New England. He sent us that beer. And Ken, we love that beer. And then there's other high gravity beers she drank, and she loved them. So, and she didn't know that they're cheap bum juice. She just thought they were great beers, you know. So I think that's a great way to review, like know nothing about the beer, right? Then you can't be biased because you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I think it's always handy to have someone who's got, you know, the experience behind it and does research. But at the same time, you've just can't be a dick. You've just got to, like, you know, take both sides, have a balance of both sides, be open to it, whoever it comes by, and just don't worry about it, but still do the research. And,
yeah,
you know, find out who it's owned by, but just go into it as blind as you can be, knowing who it's owned by.
Yeah, right.
And it's just like you know, you can still have a really decent beer despite who, you know, if they're brewery maybe like a, you know, macro or micro, or just like badly looked upon macro or micro. You just got to take every beer as it comes. But either way, do your research is what I just suggest.
I agree with that. And and Sector says he's from Florida. I'm sorry, Sector. I didn't know. I can't remember a lot of times where people are from. He says, like myself, trying to pronounce many lesser-known cognacs. I hope the French forgive me, laugh out loud. Okay. Okay, let me say this on air, people, now. I've been doing a lot of bourbon reviews, but I don't like bourbon. All right. I had to say it. I had to get it out. Or as the people in England say, bourbon. Bourbon. I said, why are they saying that word? But I remember when craft beer lady, she doesn't do videos anymore.
Mm.
You know what I'm talking about.
I liked her channel. Yeah, Real Craft Ale Guide's wife.
Simon's wife.
Yeah.
But she didn't stick with it, you know. But that's okay. But she said, "Oh, this beer reminds me of bourbon." Bourbon. I said, "Bourbon." If you came to America and said that, the whole bar would get quiet. The whole bar room would get quiet. People say, "What did that person say? Bourbon?" You know, how do you pronounce that, Harry?
Yeah, well, it's called bourbon because there are bourbon biscuits, but it's actually bourbon. But yeah, I can present to you. I've actually got some bourbon biscuits downstairs, but I'm not going to get them. But yeah, I can understand why you say it, but you know, you say it because American people say words incorrectly a lot, and that's as a result.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Back. No. Now, he's drinking a 10% beer, people. Now, hold on. Now, if you're gonna go by, let's say I go to England on a road trip, right? Like I'm gonna drive on that bridge to England. So I go to England and I go to a liquor store and say, I want to buy some wild turkey. How are they going to pronounce it? The average English person. Okay, we'll start again. The average English person is going to pronounce it how?
Well, exactly the same. Wild turkey, but I don't know.
No, I'm talking about what it is. Wild turkey, Kentucky straight, blank whiskey.
Is it bourbon or is it bourbon? I mean, if it's bourbon, then we will pronounce it as bourbon because we know what the product is. Right. You know, 9 times out of 10 people would pronounce it properly, but if they're uneducated, maybe they may pronounce it differently.
Oh, so that's what I'm trying to say. If you go to England, people are going to call it bourbon whiskey.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10 it'd be called bourbon whiskey. If you go to the right place, it'd be always called bourbon whiskey. We don't have the biggest market for bourbon over here, but yeah, they will call it that.
Okay. All right. That's okay. That's all I'm saying because
not bourbon.
So most people in England aren't going to say, "I would like some wild turkey bourbon."
No.
And I know, and I'm not trying to make fun or anything. I'm just curious. And I know in Wales they have a kind of a little odd.
We'll give the benefit of the doubt, though, 9 times out of 10, because bourbon is an American-made.
Yeah. Doesn't Wales have sort of kind of like a little odd accent anyway?
Yeah, because the Welsh speak a completely different language, so they have their own. I mean, I have my own accent compared to someone about 10 miles away from where I live. I'm fortunate enough to not really have my local accent too much. But yeah, it's quite disgusting, that's why. But yeah, no, every 10 miles, everyone will have a little bit of a different accent, but the Welsh is particularly noticeable.
Yeah, around here it's that way too. Like if I go to Reserve, Louisiana, they speak differently than if I go to Lutcher and Gramercy and Lutcher, they speak differently. They say really strange things there, and that's only 15 miles away. They say, like, I'll give you an example. People in Reserve, people here say, "I'm going to come visit you." Right? That's a normal English word, phrase or sentence. Tomorrow I'll come visit you. But in Reserve, they're going to say, tomorrow I'm going to come by your house.
Yeah.
I used to tell them, "Why don't you stop?" They never knew what I meant. They'd say, "I'm going to come by your house." I said, "Why don't you stop?" Because to me, coming by your house means you're going to pass it up.
Right.
But I'm going to come by your house. They say, "I'm going to come by your house." And I say, "What?" Now, I said, I can almost see that town from here. And that's how they speak. And they say other strange things like grind meat.
Yeah, don't want to know.
I'm going to go to the store and buy some grind meat. You know,
grind meat, like ground beef?
Yeah, ground beef. You know, you go buy ground beef, you make hamburgers.
I heard that as grind meat. And I was like, no. Thank you.
You even have they roll their tongue, grind meat. Grind meat. All right. Well, anyway, so I don't like bourbon. I realized that it took me many bottles of bourbon. I don't like it. And you know, John, why I don't. You've watched my videos.
Yeah, the corn, corn grits thing that you get with it.
Ugh. Now, I'm willing to try 50 more bottles just to make sure. But
we're going to put that to the test. There's some pretty good bourbon in your future, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if you feel the same way in another month or two.
I probably will. Now, American blended whiskey. I don't like it. But I got a lot of bottles left to drink. But I don't like it. Scotch, I like.
Mm.
No, I've got a taste for Scotch. Canadian blended whiskey, I like. Now, I got a taste for that. So I may as well just drink what I like, right? Now, malt liquor, I like. I always liked malt liquor back in 1996 when I first tried Old English 800 when it was charcoal filtered. I said, ooh, I like this. I like this stuff, you hear me? Because it tastes good. You feel me? So, and I remember a kid in high school telling me, we was drinking Magnum. We drinking Magnum. I said, what is Magnum? He said, that's beer. I said, oh, now I'm even more fascinated. My stories are just very pedestrian.
That's one of those malt liquors that I still haven't had. The Magnum.
Wait a minute. Back up. You never had Magnum?
Nope, I can't get it. I can get Mickey's, which is the same recipe or the same nutritional spec. So.
Oh, and you can't even get Schlitz.
Can't get Schlitz. Can't get Magnum. I can't get a lot of things. Now I can get a lot of things that that you can't get too, like the Old English High Gravity and X. But it's weird how in the States they're so.
Oh, he got knocked off.
Mm. I was about to say, the question is, can you get hold of this?
Skull. Oh, I've been hearing about Skull my whole life. We can get Skull vodka, but we can't get Skull beer.
So this is Skull limited edition lager from 1979. It's a strong lager. It doesn't say the ABV on it. It just says the number of the bottle. It's got a signature. It says a strictly limited brew produced specially to celebrate the silver jubilee of Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II. So it's quite old.
Yeah,
so I got 2 bottles.
1977, right?
79.
But wait a minute, the Silver Jubilee was in 77.
Oh, it must be 77.
Because she became queen. Yeah, because she was queen in 52 and 25, 77.
You know English history more than I do.
Sure I do. But that doesn't mean anything. Hey, boy, I would not drink that beer.
I don't think I drink it. I'm not sure. I think I've got a 77 Jubilee Lager here as well.
Oh man.
Not just one.
That's all right.
2 of them.
Sad.
Yeah.
Well, you have things we don't have.
Yeah.
That's all right. I've got a comic book called Muhammad Ali versus Superman.
Yeah.
You know how you always wanted to read a comic book where Muhammad Ali, the boxer, had a boxing match with Superman? Well,
yeah, all the time.
See, now I've got that. So blah blah. anyway, see why I said this video should not be taken seriously? Hey, well, we didn't even bring up all that drama stuff, but that's okay because, well, I was telling John off air. I said, oh yeah, we could talk about all the drama, all the upheaval the last week, but we ran out of time. But anyway, to sum that up, a few people in our beer community got in a big old fight. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to mediate it. I'm the calm in the storm. I'm the eye of your hurricane. So that's the part of the hurricane where it's totally calm in the midst of the storm. And I think that for the most part, it was all worked out. Like, and I was telling people, I said, you know, what is all of this business about people getting into a big conflict and yelling and screaming, and then they can't be friends anymore? I know people all the time that yell and scream. They can still be friends. What is it with the beer world that makes it different, that people have to be strange, you know? I say it's uptight, you know? So then they realized, yeah, that makes sense. You know, we all like each other. Where does all this come from where somebody gets angry or something and then everything's over with? That's craziness. Watch a football match. They fight, argue, you know, but then they're still on the team. So I was thinking about that. I said, let me think. I can think back to all the beer drama from the last 5 years, and every time that could have been washed away and reconciled very easily if people just were not so uptight and what's the word? Hysterical. And I think you would agree with that.
I see it a lot. You know, certain people, certain individuals getting like pissed off or annoyed with other people, and it's just like it's all beer. It just don't get you know, affected by things.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a bunch of camaraderie. And John Annealy knows what I'm talking about in particular. You don't, Harry, you don't know. But he kind of saw where it was able to be, I think, worked out. And they were talking about that. They were talking about, you're not on Facebook, but they were talking about that today. Well, Eric, New England, Massachusetts was saying, yeah, I think it's kind of calmed down. And then Michael Komaroff gave some really good advice. You need to let it go and all. And so, yeah, I think it kind of got smoothed over, so to speak.
Well, good. I'm glad because, yeah, I was hearing, you know, I kind of hear things differently than a lot of people because I don't have social media. And my whole thought process was, well, you know, guys, just like you said, Harry, I mean, we're drinking beer here. We're supposed to be having fun. So whatever it is, work it out and move on, you know?
Mm.
Now, it wasn't any kind of personality conflict. I mean, you know, some of these things are serious. Like, it is true, and we have noticed over the years, some people will get a little too drunk on air and go a little crazy. And you do have to say, look, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to step back a little bit. Now, and I think a lot of the people that get blasted on camera even admit it. Yeah, well, maybe sometimes people get a little over enthusiastic about drinking, or they get too involved in the hobby, let's say. You know what I'm talking about. And I've said this, and I don't feel funny about it because I preached this. I preached it because I'm sort of like a preacher. I preached this for years. What did I say? You know what I've said. What? Don't let a fun hobby turn into a disastrous and destructive life choice.
A life choice. Yeah.
You know, and I have seen this develop with certain people. I worked with a guy, fun-loving guy like us, you know, like to hang out, have a good time, you know, whatever. Sometimes he say stuff he shouldn't say. I do that. You do that. We all do that. But you would have seen this. You couldn't have believed this nightmare would develop. This guy starts drinking a bottle of Crown Royal a day. A day. Well, I don't know what happened. Usually there's some kind of underlying mental problem. We know that. It's not like people wake up one morning and say, you know what, I think I'm going to drink so much I'm going to die. You know, no one does that. They have some kind of psychological, there's like an underlying psychological problem. Okay. And it doesn't start out usually like one day nice and sober and the next day out of control. It's sort of like builds, you know what I mean? I didn't really notice it I was saying, you know, okay. But so people were coming to me privately saying, hey, you notice he's got a problem? I said, no. And I was being honest, no, I don't notice this. So, but I started kind of watching it a little closer. And then I said, oh, hold on a minute. Well, it took what? 2 years after they alerted me to the problem, and he was dead. You know what I'm telling you? Dead. 49 years old, a dead man. Drinking well, if you drink a bottle of Crown Royal a day, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. And then I've seen other people in the beer community who were having a good time, and then it took a dark, nasty turn. And I watched it, and I thought to myself, "Ooh, this is not good." I think a lot of times there's some other chemicals involved besides liquor, beer, and alcohol. If you get my drift. Maybe some pharmaceuticals, whether legal or illegal, if you follow what I'm saying. And you can watch it. I'm not going to say who, but I watched them and I thought to myself, this is not good. And I asked other people, I said, what do you think about that? Oh, no, that's not anything to take seriously. I said, I don't know about this. And you could just see the plane. It's like you're watching a plane flying in the sky and you say, I don't like the way that plane's, it's got a bad yaw. It's like, it should be flying this way, but it's starting to fly like that. And you could say, I think this plane's going to crash. And we've seen that happen. So you do have to take these things with a little trepidation. It's like fire. Fire is useful. You can cook with it, do many things, but it's dangerous. Alcohol is useful, camaraderie, get you social lubricant, whatnot. You can taste all the intricate flavors. Do reviews, make friends, make enemies even. But you know what I mean? Have a good time. You know what I mean? Like, but it's dangerous. You have to admit it can be dangerous. And so I think responsibility is important. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's my preaching for tonight. But I think I agree with what I'm saying. I'm unanimous.
I agree with what you're saying. As long as you know your own limits and you're responsible and you don't put other people at risk by doing stuff like this, I got no problem with it. Just be careful.
Yeah, I think there's one thing I'd possibly add to that is because I know someone in the beer community who I could see, as you were saying, Jay, about like being down those lines of going down the bad route. Hopefully not towards death, but I know someone who is, going down that bad line. Yeah, just listen to other people and their suggestions is possibly one other thing I'd say. And don't go down the dark path of drinking excessively. I think drinking not to enjoy what the taste of the beer. That's ultimately for me. I always drink to enjoy the taste of the beer. I don't drink to enjoy the effects of it. Or what it gives you. It's always sort of flavor first, ABV afterwards. And I just encourage that to other people. So yeah.
It's a touchy thing because you want to help the person, but then they're going to be very defensive, and you got to watch how you approach it because like in our little group here in America, that maybe the approach was a little kind of wound up approach. Like, stop this, like, and I'm thinking maybe going overboard and the person's not going on. Now I had experiences in the beer world, true story, where somebody came to me privately and said, this was a person that did hangouts. They're still posted. Telling me privately, I think I have a drinking problem. I smoke marijuana all day and I don't have a job and I drink all the time and I have a problem. Well, if you're telling me that, I think that would be apparent, right? I said, well, that's it. I said, this is terrible. This news you're giving me is like terrible, I said, well, first of all, we're not doing any more hangouts together. That, forget that. That's done for fun and entertainment. I'm not going to sit there and be part of your problem, okay? Oh, well, you can let me join. He said, you can let me join. It's no problem. I said, no, you just came to me. There's a reason you came to me out of the blue with this. Because there's something in your mind telling you you're in a bad situation. I said, but then there's the other part of you saying, forget about it, just have a great time, you know, smoke your dope, whatever. But you know, you got that responsible side saying, better not do it, you know. So I told him, I said, no, we got to get a handle on this. And he kept begging, you know, I want to join. I said, forget it. But then he contacted me a while back and said he was changing his life, or et cetera, you know. But you never know if that's true, because it's kind of like people on a diet. They say, I'm doing better, I'm losing weight. Next thing you know, they ate half the house, so they fall off the wagon. So, but you got to watch. It's a funny thing, you know. Now people might say, well, you're making the damn videos, you're encouraging it. No, that's not true. Jesus turned water into wine. He didn't say, nah, go out at this wedding party and act crazy and destroy your life. See, so it's like anything, you know, exercise, dieting, drinking. You used to be able to talk about smoking, but now can't talk about smoking. Even though when I taught psychology, I used to talk about smoking in high school. And I said some very politically incorrect things, but they were accurate. The truth. Yeah, you know, smoking is sort of like the taboo, right? But anyway, I don't smoke cigarettes, so I can be a little more free in that. But it's a dangerous thing, but it can be a useful thing. I don't know. I agree. I think people have to watch it.
Looking through the comments, there's Sector 1 says, moderation, everything in moderation. It's like that good old Greek saying of nothing in excess, everything in moderation.
The golden mean, right? That was what? Who said that? That was Aristotle. He received a free. Okay, now let's see these comments, and then we're gonna get off air. You got some crazy comments, but like I. Let's see. Okay, let's go back. Sector says, there's no doubt we can butcher the English language. And then Backwoods Billy says, personally, I believe that pronouncing words is important. That being said, take Leinenkugels. I relate it to a lion to remember its visualization. Sometimes I call it lion in Kugels. Okay, lion in Kugels. I asked you instead of asked. However, I understand. Yeah, I hate when people ask you a question.
You even get it over here as well.
I'll say, what are you going to cut some wood? You need a hatchet? Okay, Friar Tuck says submarine sandwiches are called grinders here in Connecticut. Grinders? Call them poor boys. Poor boys. Po boys.
Po boy, like a po boy, yeah.
Yeah, poor boys. Bangers in the UK. Yeah, big sandwiches. Yes, every Ron video must have the phrase corn grits. And my says sector. I know, I always say that, corn grits. I'm fixated on that word. And then Backwoods Billy says, mug off, you UK and in the US tell you off. Okay. Aren't flashlights called torches in the United Kingdom?
Yep.
Huh?
Yeah. No idea why you call them flashlights.
Because they flash.
They don't flash though, do they?
If you
turn them on and you turn them back off again. Torch. Not flashlight.
You move them around and make a flash.
Hey, that's a good point. I don't know. We should just call them turn on lights.
Chris, because you can grab them in a flash and turn them on, damn it. Christopher called potato chips. The chemist is called the pharmacist. Yeah, I know. We have a liquor store coming called Beer and Wine Huge Warehouse. Okay. Nappies are diapers. What? Nappies are diapers. Chemists, I hear that. Pharmacists, I think of a man I knew that graduated Johns Hopkins with a PhD in biology. Radar says, who won? Who won what? You talking about the, Backwoods Billy, okay, agree to disagree. He received a free vacation to Iraq in the 80s when Hussein was in power, and he offered huge dollars, and he had a PhD in biochemical engineering. Instead, he took a position with Lilly Pharmaceutical. That was a good idea. Somebody offered me a job to be the head of a school in Zimbabwe in 1990, and I turned it down, thank goodness. Free Tommy Roberson. Huh?
I'm glad we're not joining Zimbabwe beer reviews right now, because that would be a different. I don't even know if you could get beer. Anyway, never mind.
It wouldn't be good beer.
No, there is a Zimbabwe brewing company, and you can get a brand of beer down there. And but I was offered a job to be a teacher down there, actually a principal. Hey, Ron, how was your Memorial Day weekend? Says Alex, the beer master. Hey, Alex. Oh, it was fine. We drank a lot of different beers at my friend David's house. Well, we drank 2 beers, and they were very high gravity, and we liked them. But things went a little awry as far as scheduling, so we didn't get to do as much as we wanted, but it worked out okay. I always try to taste beers to evaluate them, even at beer festivals, says Backwoods. I believe that I have only been smashed a few times. I can count on one hand. My wife drives me. She doesn't drink. Personal responsibility, right? History of malt liquor. Muhammad Ali versus Superman. Yep, I have it. I can pull it out of this desk and show you. KJC says, are you a teacher? Well, I used to be a teacher. Now I just do it for fun. I used to do it for fun when I got paid. Blue Nose Beer Review says, agreed, Scruffy. Long live free speech. Oh, no. Can't have free speech around here. People could get offended. Hey, well, anyway, that was fun. We got to drink malt liquor and high gravity ale. Talked about a lot of things that aren't important, and then some things that I think are really important. Because I want to see people doing this for 50 years. You know, like, you remember back 50 years ago in 2018, we hung out and do beer reviews, and I'm like, yeah, I remember that. Now I'm 100 years old and I'm still doing beer reviews. I don't want to go through this again where I'm going to somebody's funeral and he's laying in the casket 49 years old because he drank a bottle of Crown Royal every day. I don't want to go through that again. That was terrible, horrible, a nightmare. Yeah. But I don't know what was in his mind. Whatever it was, I tried to help him, but I couldn't help him. You know. Terrible, horrible. All right. Well, anyway, we don't want to end on a bad note, but it's just, you know, that's what happened. All right. Anyway, any last comments?
No, just drink more malt liquor.
Label out. Label out.
Yeah, label out. Ding, ding, ding. Jeremy, what you know about that? And I've got a bottle of Mickey's fine malt liquor, green label, barrel bottle. What you know about that, Jeremy? Isn't tomorrow Green Label?
I believe if we're still on, I haven't heard anything, so absolutely. Green Label.
Beer Talk, because you're not part of Beer Talk, because you have that self-imposed exile.
I just I try to stay away from the drama. I'm just kidding. I don't care. I'm just I guess I'm a millennial, but I'm on I'm close to what was the generation before the millennials. I'm right on the edge. So I don't really I don't know. I always get a hard time about it, but I just can't get into all that stuff. I barely have enough time for YouTube. So how am I going to make time for Facebook and
Don't you want to sit around all day and waste time? All right.
I do, yeah, but unfortunately I have to work 40 hours a week. So.
A little thing like a job getting away with wasting.
Yeah, gosh. Well, dang job.
Well, you're still young, and Harry's still young. I'm not young. I'm middle-aged, but I used to be young. Hey, so we'll just say you could drink more liquor or not drink it. It doesn't really matter.